Good morning, folks. It's Friday. Sun is shining, the birds are singing, all is right with the world. Anyway, Fred's sitting right here on the lift, and I have the gaskets for the valve covers. I'm going to put those on. I'm going to put on the carbs so I can do a first start. And gosh, what else? Let's see what parts we have left over. You know, sometimes I just throw away the leftover parts, but let's see, what else do we have to do over here? We have valve covers, we have carbonizers. Oh, the horn, I gotta hang that. Air cleaner. Mag pickup cover. And leftover bits and pieces, which really aren't left over because I replace a lot of hardware when I work on these things. So this really isn't as bad as it looks. And I mean, I don't know if there are parts that came with Fred, like these little guys. The perfectly good set of oil lines on over there, but here are oil line fittings. So, yeah, here's another one. I got when the client gave us that bike, he gave us a whole bunch of parts. I mean, a huge amount of parts, which I gave to Roger because he has the market for them, and they're better off at his place than at my place. So I gave him a huge box of parts, and these are just some of the stuff that fell out of the bottom of that box. And the fuse. I have the fuse in, and a spare fuse, but this is a second spare. These are insulators for the carbonizers, and I'm going to take these over now. This goes with these, complete set of oil bolts for the head oil lines. Isn't it something? I don't know how the guy who gave me the bike had so many leftover parts, but he did. So we're down to the last few bits, and let's see if I can do a first start today. That'd be kind of cool. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. That gives me Saturday and Sunday to go ahead and put the Speedo drive on this bike and maybe do a test ride. So we'll see what happens. All right, the rocker covers are on. I polished them a tad bit. These are brand new nuts and bolts, chrome plated no less. Aren't they pretty? So that's done. Over here I have the carbs. Kevin took them off with the manifold, so that's kind of cool. It's going to make it easier to put them back on. We have brand new 5-clip, 5-notch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have the hardest time counting these. Let's see if I can zoom in. Maybe that'll make it easier to count. I think that's as zoomy as I can get. Let's try holding it still. Yeah, that's five notches according to my calculations. Yep, 5 notches, okay. They're brand new. I think we stole the needles out of Fred for another bike. So let's see if I can get this guy unbuzzed. Anyway, I'm going to put these on now. He's going to put a single Mikuni on probably. And who knows? This is a modified Allen wrench. It's very short. And I have undercut this area right here, which lets me get in far enough in here to make a short turn on these Allens. And I put the shrink tubing on it to identify it. So cutaway and real short, and bevel the edges so they'll slide in nicely. We'll see how it works. Actually, I know how it works. It works really well. So I'm going to put these on and maybe do a first start today. Well, one of my personal sayings is, never make a mistake you can't compound. So I have both of these carbs mounted, and I just stepped back to take a look at my handiwork and looked down here and said, oh no. And there it is. the last bolt on the installation, the one on the inside here, and there's the gasket. For joy, for joy, for joy. The fun just never stops. Oh, goodness gracious sakes alive, look at that. It's 11:15. And this is a motorcycle ready for the first start. I've actually run out of parts. I have a clean bench over there. And over here, all I have left are an air cleaner, the seat hardware, side covers, and the seat. And the rest of this stuff is dead stuff, dead Fred stuff. And up here is a great big empty shelf. My goodness, what do you do when you run out of parts? I guess you start the motorcycle, Frank. Yeah, that's an idea. But right now, I'm starving, so I'm gonna just let this guy sit here, and I'm gonna go inside there and have either a very late breakfast or an early lunch. Somebody should come up with a word to describe that. Something like lake fast or break lunch or lunch break, or some sort of word to describe a meal between breakfast and lunch. Think on it. Maybe suggestions. What would be a good word? I don't like late breakfast. I don't know. Oh well, think on it. I'm going to go inside, get something to eat, and then I'm going to come out here and give this guy a first spin. All right, I am back, and for the meal between breakfast and lunch, I decided on not be noddle. You know, not be noddle. All one word. I'm going to tell all my friends with a restaurant that they should advertise that they have not be noddle. Anyway, I had 3 eggs, side of ham, all wrapped up in a jug with a ham, tossed in a handful of cheese, wrapped it all up in a great big tortilla, and had a double cup of iced coffee. So I'm fed and so stoked on caffeine, I'm shaking like a 10-penny nail hit with a greasy ball peen hammer. That's an old saying. So here I am. I'm going to put some gas in this thing and tickle the heck out of it. See if I have any leaks. And then I'll put this on the tripod and see if she'll fire. Well, okay, I got a gallon of gas in it. I've got the petcocks on. I've tickled both carburetors, carbonizers. I left the ignition on overnight, so let's see if it'll crank. And let's see if it'll crank with a fuse installed. Yep, there we go. Sorry. All right, let's see if it'll crank now with the fuse installed. Okay. Have ignition. Got good lights. Should crank. Good snap. Double check oil level. Let's eyeball the oil. Hark! Hello, 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 hello. It is an oil-free tank. Oh, look at how clean it is. Yep, must have had it out and cleaned it. I think I'll put some oil in the bike. I'll be back. All right, so what I'm going to do now is put about 6 ounces of oil into this rocker access. Look at these, aren't these pretty? There. Chrome. Aren't they nice? I like chrome. But always remember the old saying, chrome don't get you home. But then, of course, the ancillary to that is, but it might. Okay, enough of that. So I've got 6 ounces of oil here and a basket baster that I took from my poor wife. Oh gosh, what we do. But it now lives out here. Let's see if I can get this in. You have to be careful when you're doing this because you have to squirt it way up inside in the back so that it goes straight down the push rod tube. If you don't go far enough in, it'll just fill up the front part and come surging out of here. Now, so I've got a quart and a half in the oil tank, and I'm getting about 6 ounces down here into the sump. Don't forget that this was a run engine. We ran it back in January when we discovered we had so many problems with the head, but it was running. Got to give it time to drain down through the little holes at the bottom of the push rods. Okay. So other than the mess there, that's pretty good. I've got fresh anaerobic sealer on there, so I'm not going to worry about those. There you go. That's the exact correct torque setting right there. Right. Yep, that's perfect. All right. I now have oil in the pump and oil in the tank and oil in the sump. And let's fire it up. I'll be right back. All right. Gas is on, carbs are tickled. I'm thrilled. It's on the low mark of the oil gauge. Let's just leave that right there for the moment. I think that bracket's lost. That rubber bracket right there is broken. Doggone it. Nope, I'll have to look at that. But enough. I digress. I've delayed as much as I can. Choke is all the way off. Good snap. Ignition on. Oh, wait a minute. Do we need a kickstarter? Let's push the magic button and see what happens. I think the battery needs charging. Okay, guys, that was fun. It's just sat too long. I'm going to put a charge on the battery and try again later. In the meantime, I'll change that tank hanger. By the way, just for the record, I'm not upset by that battery being weak. The bike has been sitting since January. So for it to be a little low is not unusual. I'm going to charge it and try it later on. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. It's 12 noon now. I might call it a day and just let it charge overnight. Okay, it's 1:20, and with the cooler on, it's not that bad. It's 100 and something outside, but oh, whatever. I'm calling it a day. Now I've got Fred hooked up to the charger. I call this my ICU. It's got vacuum gauges I used to use when I worked on multi-engine bikes. The heat gun, my air inflator pistol for tires, my battery charger, multimeter. Down there's the ignition strobe light, and down there a small battery and a voltage and ammeter and a small voltage meter. And then this big old battery right there that came out of the RV, and it's still a good battery, so I can use that for testing also. So anyway, I call that my ICU, and I've got the battery on this bike tied to the battery charger over there, and the little yellow light says, I am charging. So I'm going to let it sit here overnight, get a good charge on that battery before I try to spin it up again. In the meantime, while I've been out here, I put a new shock mount on the oil bottle here on the oil tank. That was an actually honest to God stock one I had in stock, so I put it in there. While I did that, this one tore, of course. So I made one that does the same job. What I did is I took the rubber out of the one that was broken, drilled through it, put a bolt all the way through, put a nut on this side, bolt head on this side, which gives you vibration, and then put the other nut on top of here, which gives you security. So it's just as good, if not better, than a shock mount, stock shock mount. The bike has been sitting here this whole time with the petcocks on. No leak, that's good. And like I say, I'm just going to do a walkaway right now and call it a day. I've got paperwork and videos to post. Oh, by the way, before I was talking about these beautiful chrome nuts here, and I said there's an old saying, and I kind of messed up. I had little technical problems while explaining that old saying. The old saying, as I recall, was chrome don't get you home, but it might get you a date. But I had some technical difficulties when I was explaining that, so that's the chrome don't get you home, but it might get you a date. We used to say that to guys that chrome the heck out of their chopper bikes, so they were really, really, really chromy and glistening, but ran like poop and broke down every time we took a ride. You know, chrome's good, but it don't get you home. A good running bike gets you home. Spend your money on what's important, not bling. I love watching the little cars go by with their big exhaust going rah, 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 rah. The car itself is a $150 car, and they've got $2,000 worth of wheels on them. Oh well, actually when I was 15, 16, I spent my money on Moon hubcaps for my 1950 Chevrolet, my first car. Moon hubcaps. How many people remember Moon spun aluminum hubcaps? They were the, shall we say, as my father would say, the cat's meow. Boy, am I feeling old. So anyway, I'm going to let the bike sit here overnight. We'll do another restart tomorrow morning. That's enough. That's enough for the day. And that's the way it is here on the Griswold Road.